I got up to the point where this logging debris was, and I was looking up at a fairly steep angle. It was about 20 or 25 feet in the air, maybe less.
That's low. And how big would you say it was in width?
Oh, it pretty much filled up the available clearing space there. It was probably about 25, 30 feet in diameter. It's really hard to estimate because, it's up in the air.
Sure.
And there's nothing around that you can compare the size to,
That's true. Okay. But we're talking about something fairly large, fairly low to the ground.
And very distinct, This wasn't any kind of hazy thing, and the light from it was not so bright that I couldn't see the surface very distinctly.
Good observation. So you weren't being blinded in any way, or your view was not being obstructed.
Right.
And your head was all clear. There wasn't a sense of dreaminess or haze.
No.
Okay.
A lot of fear, though, especially the closer I got.
Wow. Well, that usually heightens people's senses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why, when you started to feel the fear, did you not just immediately turn around and bolt?
Well, I was, feeling the need to, those guys were yelling, get the hell out of there, get away from there, and, but as I'd gotten closer to it, I could hear the sound it was making, and at the point that I was, got up near this logging debris, these limbs and brush and stuff that was there, the thing suddenly started to make this sort of a revolving, sort of a rocking motion.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, it didn't start spinning in the air. The same side stayed toward me, but it just made a sort of a rocking motion and raised up, and the sound, it suddenly had this real powerful increase in the volume to the sound. It just, seemed to vibrate my whole body. Huh. And that scared me so much that I didn't run back to the truck. I ran, or I jumped down behind the end of a log there,
okay.
Just, for cover,
Yes. Yes. Oh, goodness. So now was the vibration or the sound, other than making you realize, something's changing, this is getting scary, was it physically painful or uncomfortable?
No, it wasn't painful like that, but it was just so powerful. It was just, and it seemed to be, so many frequencies all mixed together. And
have you ever heard any sound remotely like that before or since?
Oh, no. I mean, I could compare it to a lot of different things, but, there was a sort of a mechanical, sort of a high, rapid spinning sort of a scraping or turbine sort of a sound, but it was a whine, a high frequency whine thing with this extremely low rumbling sound.
You're pulsing, very observant, Travis.
A pulsing sound.
Good.
And it seemed like it might even go off the range of human hearing on both ends, because how that funny feeling in your ears when there's a sound that's too high or too low to really hear?
Yes, yes, yes.
It was like that.
Did start to sort of come alive when Travis, the closer he got to it, and when he got right up nearly under it, it was swaying and seemed to be oscillating, like moving sort of like a top, but not real rapidly, just a slow wobble, like a top wobble when it's spinning, and then it starts to slow down and it's getting ready to fall over.
Yeah, good description.
And like I say, I'm not just giving my own, here I'm going by what all the other guys have had to say also.
Okay, helpful.
Anyway, it had this motion to it, and it also had this sound that Travis has described.
How far away?
He described that. He did a good job of that.
How far was your truck from where Travis was standing? So we have a sense of distance.
Well, it was at least 75, possibly 100 feet. It wasn't more than 100 feet, because later, in fact, years later, I actually measured it at the site. Okay. We knew where the thing was. It was there was a tree back behind it on the ridge, a tall tree that you could see came up and actually went behind, just the very top of it went behind the thing, and I could tell from that it was in front of that tree at least, but it was a clearing where there were a lot of large trees around, and the thing was hovering 15, 20 feet above the ground, suspended there in the air until he walked up there, and then it started making this motion.
My.
And when I did measure it, it was probably about 90 feet to maybe the center of it, on the ground right below where it would have been.
Okay. All right. So you're about 75 to 100 feet away. The other people in the truck certainly had a clearer view than you, but you're summing up everybody's statements, and you did see it wobbling. You did see the light. And what did you observe when Travis reported getting this sensation of being hit?
Well, Alan Dallas and I both experienced kind of the same thing there, because I had, when things started looking dicey, I turned to start the truck, okay, because I'd actually turned it off after I'd stopped it, not realizing until I looked, what the complete situation was.
Uh-huh.
And then realizing what I had to do, I went to, it seemed like it was time to be leaving, and I went to start the truck. Before I could turn the engine back on, I saw this blinding flash of light that lit up all the woods out in front of the truck and the other side of the truck, just everything brighter than daylight. And it wasn't like an instant, like a flash ball, just a pop. It was kind of a prolonged thing, like a string of giant flash balls going off. And I, of course, jerked my head back to the right, and my image there was Travis flying back through the air and landing on his back. Now, Alan had the he had a good seat. He was in the back seat, but he was right on the door there, and he had gotten so frightened, he says, that he put his head down between his knees just for a couple of seconds in fright, and then he heard this crack sound, the sound of this light, this beam, whatever, hit Travis, and he jerked his head back up to see the exact same thing I did, Travis flying back through the air and colliding with the ground.
Wow.
And that's right in there somewhere. Within those few seconds, I had the truck on, and just as Alan and one of the other guys was yelling to get the hell out of there, I was already hitting the gas.